I think you're on mute if you're saying something, Steve. I don't see him on here anymore, do you?
Yeah, he's here.
Steve, I'm ready whenever you are. All right. Steve, are you there? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Okay, call to order the regular meeting of Chisholm City Council for October 13th, 2021. Good evening, everyone. Margaret, could you do a roll call, please?
Councillor Halverson.
Here.
Councillor Nicolaraha.
Here.
Councillor Fountain.
Here.
Councillor Lance.
Here.
Councillor Vaki.
Here.
And Mayor Champa.
Here. Council, adopt the agenda. I always like when things like this happen, but at least we know we're not perfect when they come up. Apparently this sewer lateral ordinance was brought forward. The additions were added to the older version of the ordinance. It has to start over, and we're going to have to bring it back for first reading with the correct information. So we're going to just pull it off tonight, and it'll come back to us again, and we're going to have to start over. So fortunately, it's not a hurry because it has to do, the additions have to do with projects. It's so it's nothing we're going to be needing until next year at the earliest. So looking for a motion to adopt the agenda with the one removal. Margaret, is there anything I missed other than that?
No, that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. So motion to adopt the agenda with the one removal, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Margaret?
Councillor Halverson.
Aye.
Councillor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the agenda is adopted. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
I believe we have no public participation tonight. We're going to have Brenda I think Brenda is here on behalf of the Area Agency on Aging. And I think she nodded her head. So we'll take her up as the first agenda item when we get there. So no other public participation, so we'll skip over that. Let's move right on to our council reports. We'll start with Adam tonight, since he's on my screen. And
Good evening, everybody. We had our fire department business meeting here recently where we discussed starting back up with the school year, delivering the buddy backpacks over to the Von Steffens Road and handing out candy on the 29th for the Lake Street trick-or-treat event, and also on Halloween itself. We'll be at the fire hall, have the doors open, so if anybody wants to come down there, bring your kids, and we'll be there to talk to everybody and give us some treats. Also, at the fire department, we would like to congratulate Lloyd Show and Andrew Barda on 3 years of the service. So thank you guys very much for what you do. Just recently, we had our second ambulance committee meeting. I think it was our second, if not our third, but a lot of information has been coming up, and we're going to have a lot of information to bring forward on our next council meeting on the 27th. And also pertaining to that, when we get to it, if we could put some discussion for it with the budget working session, if we're able to make that meeting before the 27th, just so we could bring information to the council and have some discussion. So if there's anything that needs to be revised or any concerns brought up, we can address that before the 27th. So we're ready to roll with that. Other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Cheyenne, report tonight? Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I have also been attending some ambulance committee meetings. I attended a police commission meeting, and I did take a couple of calls from some citizens concerned about street sweeping. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Travis, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. I only am going to report on one thing, and there's probably tons that I could report on, but I was at the high school bike races this past weekend at the Redhead. I was there for the majority of the day on Saturday as well as Sunday, and it was fabulous, fantastic. Tons of people. I had numerous discussions with participants and parents, and the verdict was that the Redhead is one of their favorite races of the year. They love the course, the uniqueness of it. So that was great. Obviously, as a city leadership position, there's politicking, so I had good conversations as well with people about how we can improve and other things, and had a discussion with Jim Plummer, and it was great. It was really, really a fantastic weekend. Counselor Fountain was there on Saturday, check it out with me, and we just had a good time. It was really, really, really fantastic. I have some good feedback that I need to talk to a few people on, and help keep improving that event. So that's all I got.
Hey, Travis, question for you. So I wasn't around this weekend. I'm never around on weekends because I'm a contractor and I got to go hide on the weekends. I'll be working 7 days a week. But is that sort of like was that event, like a track meet type of, where all these teams come together and they compete for first place, second place or whatever? I mean, that's what it was, wasn't it? An actual competition?
Yeah, it was an actual competition. The bike racing is not yet a Minnesota State High School League sponsored sport. So the Minnesota Cycling Association is the organization that puts it on. And yeah, but there's a ton of bikers. It's crazy how many people are passionate about the sport of biking. And most of the teams were, I would say 75% of the teams were from the cities area, and the other 25 was from Duluth to Cuyuna, and anywhere in between. But yeah, it was pretty phenomenal to see, and there's just a ton of work that goes into that too. The course race itself, there was, these kids are competitive. There was crashes. There was, people trying to win.
Yeah, that's neat stuff. And by the way, just an observation. I like your background much better than your Uncle Jim praying for snow, in October.
Yeah, you're welcome. Trying to keep summer
when you talk to him.
Trying to keep summer here.
Yeah, we want to keep it here. All right, Charles, thanks you. April, report tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So hello, everyone. I've got a lot of information to share with all of you, and I'm going to try to go fast. September 27th, I attended a campground meeting with Counselor Lance and Stephanie and Eileen and Larry. So we discussed the brand new signs that were placed up, possible camp posts, rates for 2022, improvements for windows and toilets and showers and office upgrades, Wi-Fi expansions, EV charging stations. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure Stephanie could give us more information on that. Budgeting and for engineering and expansions for possible tent sites and cabin sites. So that was really cool. October 5th, I completed the Board of Appeal and Equalization training and received my certificate, which is good till 2025. I am not sure who all on the, I know Mr. Mayor is certified, and I think Marty, are you certified as well? But I'd like to just encourage you guys to just take that online training. Very simple, very easy. It's only an hour, and you're good. October 6th, we all attended the Redhead Water Recreation Working Session via Zoom. We'll be meeting with all of them again very soon to make sure we all continue to be on the same page, which is very important. October 8th, a coworker in front of mine, Tom Clune, let me use his extra ATV and gave me a tour of our beautiful Redhead trails for 5 hours. I took pictures of the beautiful landscapes that is right here in our backyard. And I'm 40 years old and I've never been. So it was the most wonderful, beautiful thing ever. And it's also thought of, I also thought of some great opportunities we can all work on to make this trailhead even better. I can't wait to share at our next meeting. And I also had the opportunity to speak with Richie Johnson and Jordan Metza and Counselor Vaki at the Discovery Center at the end of the ATV tour. October 9th, my husband and I attended the Minnesota Cycling Association biker ride and at the Redhead Trail. And I had the opportunity to speak with some different riders and their parents, a bike vendor, Minnesota Discovery staff, and I also got to see Counselor Vaki again. This event brought in many, many people to Chisholm. I'm hoping to hear soon of the stats of how many came into town and if our downtown businesses see more business. I also like to just have a gentle reminder to the council as a whole and to city staff to make sure that any and all events are brought to the council for approval, whether it's in our downtown, like Sled the City or Slide the City or parades, and also our very own Redhead Trail. This last event wasn't brought to the council, and there was kind of like I was confused about some things, but there are some forms and insurance forms, just so everybody out there that wants to have an event here, they just need to fill them out and present it back to the city and then to the council. And if we need to have a special meeting to get these great events through, that's not a problem, no problem. We all need to make sure that all of us are on the same page, including our downtown businesses, our residents, city staff, and emergency personnel, just in case. Then, with these events in place, we can make sure if there's any businesses that would want to place a food booth up or a tent up with a booth and inventory, or have an option for downtown businesses to have delivery ready and available. I was thinking coupon opportunities or even volunteering. I know Redhead was this last weekend was really looking for some volunteers out on the trails and stuff. So that opportunity could be presented to our citizens to help out. We have a great team here. We just got to continue to work together for the greater good of our community. And let's all make a better effort going forward to be more transparent with each other. We have a diamond in the rough here, guys, and fantastic people in our community. And Chisholm is moving forward, and we are the heart of the Iron Range, as Counselor Vaki says. And I say too, because we are. October 11th, I attended the Build Back Better Iron Range Area Workshop, Community Leadership Workshop, which you guys got an email from Administrative Assistant Margaret Gornick. She sent it yesterday to input your ideas. If you guys get a chance to it, look at that spreadsheet and add ones to the top 10 projects that you'd like to see in our area. Hitting Chisholm, Mount Iron Buell, Rock Ridge, and Mesabi East School Districts in St. Louis County were all invited to attend. Let's see. Last but not least, October 12th, I had a final comp plan advisory committee meeting and draft plan discussion. And Stephanie and Cheyenne were both there. And soon this plan will be brought to the council. This community committee has been meeting for some time to discuss the priorities and needs for change in our community, how we can implement the changes, how it will give us a clear vision. So I want all of you to stay tuned for your copy of the plan that's coming soon. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, Mandy was there too.
Well, I'm just happy you like my childhood playground. That's where I was down there every day, down playing in the mine pits. I wasn't supposed to be, obviously, but it's in the past. I think the statute of limitations have expired on it. Thank you, April. Marty, report tonight, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Just a brief report. I also stopped by Redhead this past weekend on Friday evening to see the setup, and then early Saturday morning at the beginning. And I heard that only one race got washed out because of the storm on Sunday afternoon. I think half another one got canceled when the storm came in. So in spite of all the wet weather, they got most of the event to go off without a hitch, is from what I heard, and the trails held up very well. We looked last night, and they are also in very, very, very good condition in spite of the wet weather. The only other thing to report on is that our trail contractor is rock solid from Copper Harbor, Michigan, and they're going to come back October 25th and do a little bit of touch-up work on the roller derby trail. There's some real wet areas there from all the rain, and there's still budget money left over, so they'll be back for 3 or 4 days to do some final cleanup and touch up on that trail. And otherwise, yeah, April and Travis gave very good reports on the event, and so that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Marty. Yeah, I don't have anything to add that hasn't already been said. I'm happy they had that big event up there. That's neat stuff to bring all those young people into the community, and I hope they enjoyed themselves here. Speaking of young people, I just love when the chamber does things like the items we're going to talk about later tonight with the the little parade with the pets and doing the citywide trick or treating and stuff. That's fun stuff for the kids. We got to do little things like that. So that's all I have. A lot going on. This is my busy season for work, so I get to let Stephanie run the city and stay out of her hair. So it works out kind of nice for her. So that's all I have. We'll move on to our department heads. So we'll start with Stephanie. Good evening, Stephanie. Report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and the Council. I have a couple things. The House Bonding Committee was at the arena. Myself and Eileen and the mayor were there to meet with them and Ed Chamernick, and they looked at the arena and the current state that it's in, depending on the bonding request that we put in. The bonding request that we have is $2.6 million. I did just get back the engineering study on that facility, and with a new ice plant and dehumidification system for the arena, and sandblasting the ceiling and repainting it and new boards, it came in at 3.9 million. So that's where that study came in at. I've been working a lot with Ravina lately to get our policies and procedures of where we're at, and the department heads. Ravina is drafting those, and then they'll go to department heads for review, and then you will be seeing some at the council coming up here pretty quick for approval. So, and I think that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Do you want to take up your economic development side at the same time, or is that all you got on that too?
I think that's all I have.
All right. Council, anything for Stephanie? So Stephanie, is Eileen out or what? I see she's on a call. Was she sick today or gone or?
Hi, good evening, Mayor. Working remote.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'll get back to her then. I didn't know. It sounded like she was on, but not really. So we'll get back to her. Okay, so we'll move to Jess, our ambulance director. Good evening, Jess.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nothing super specific to report this evening. Our EMT work group committee hopefully met for the last time in person this week, coming up with some good recommendations that you guys should be seeing next meeting, and just plugging through a few last issues and getting some clarification on matters. But beyond that, nothing else to report.
Thank you, Jess. Council, anything for our ambulance director? I thought of something while April went through so many things. I was thinking of things to comment on as she went. By the time she got done, I forgot what I was going to say. But we do have the Redhead folks in Discovery Center coming to do a year-end wrap-up at some point. I don't know if it's going to be next meeting or the one following, but April had asked about that. So maybe we'll see some more of those numbers. So thank you, Jess. We'll move on. Building official, Mandy, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have no formal report, just what is on the agenda. I have two IRRB residential redevelopment grant applications for approval.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. Council, anything that's not on the agenda for Mandy? All right, we'll move on. Must be doing a great job over there in the corner office. So let's take up our clerk treasurer right now. Report tonight, Eileen?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I am on the road, actually. I'm on my way to Arizona. I'm going to support my daughter who's going through some mental health issues, and I will be working remotely the remainder of this week and next week. And one of the items that I didn't do before I left was to email you the invoice register. I sincerely apologize, but I did finish a check run last night. I know there's a resolution we have in place that allows me to pay invoices and issue checks as needed. So I don't know how we remedy this, Mayor. Is there anything we need to do since you weren't provided the invoice register for your review?
Brian, I'll refer this to you. I'm assuming we can approve it, and if there's something on there, as soon as we see the register, we'll have to question it at that point. But Brian, thoughts?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, and Eileen's correct. We have a standing resolution in place that allows routine bills and expenses to be paid, so long as there was nothing extraordinary or far out of the usual that was on that list. We should be fine just going to the next meeting and then ratifying the list at that point.
Thank you, Brian. Anything else, Eileen?
I do, but it looks like I'm having bad service. So, can you hear me okay still?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay. So I had sent an email several weeks ago regarding ClearGov. I don't know if you recall that, but what it is representation. It's an online a website that provides the demographics for our city as well as financial data. It's a service that we've utilized the last few years. And so I really wanted to get some input from council.
Looks like we're in a loser.
I would have put in the email if everyone would like that, just to take a look. I'd really like to get some feedback because there's certain things we can turn on and off. For example, we can turn actual expenses or budget amounts. We can turn those on and off. So I would appreciate council's feedback on that very much. I would appreciate that. So I'll resend an email. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention was I spoke with Stephanie yesterday, and we discussed the budget amendment process that I presented to council several weeks ago. I do have several that I'm going to be presenting next council session. So I just wanted to mention that. And what we'll do is we'll just provide something very simple for you to review, and it'll be quite pretty simple to express and for you to review. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Stay safe out there. All right, council, move on to our next report. City engineer, Jim, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Just a quick update on 3rd Street Northwest. Our issue right now is getting the availability of concrete. A week ago, they were able to put in the curb and gutter. They've started some prep work for the driveway aprons and the sidewalks, but they can't get concrete until next Tuesday. But I'm expecting Masabi Bituminous to be in tomorrow and Thursday, getting the rest of the prep work done for the sidewalks and the driveway aprons. Looking for the concrete subcontractor to move in on Monday to get their forms set and ready to go. And hopefully by the end of next week, we will have all of our concrete in, curb and gutter, sidewalks, driveway aprons. And then the following week, Masabi Bituminous should be back in there putting down the geogrid, the rest of the gravel, and hopefully paving either the last week in October or that first week in November. That's all I have, Mayor, so I'd be happy to answer any questions that you or the council might have.
Council, anything for Jim? Jim, I'm just going to comment that this is like the longest project I've ever seen, and I know it was a difficult project, but that's all I'm going to say. They couldn't have had a better year to do a project, so I wonder, well, how this would have turned out if we had rain for half the summer like we normally do, because you couldn't have got a better summer to work on a project. They should be done.
We just have to eliminate boulders and material supply shortages. So,
yeah,
thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Public Works, Larry. Good evening.
Evening, everybody. I got a couple things on the agenda, including something about boulders, which I'm happy to speak of, but later. But for now, like April spoke about the campground committee meeting, we're getting that going again for next year and talking about improvements and what we want to do. And the EV is electric vehicle charging station, for your memory, April. So the pad's done for that, and also for the other stuff that Stephanie got in the grant. There, we received the picnic tables, and we got the big bike workstation, and we got that pad completed too for with concrete. And so we got about 2 more weeks of water left on at the campground, so we'll work through that. To Councilor Mikla-Raha, we started sweeping on Monday, and it's 8 hours a day, as fast as we can go with 1 employee, 1 sweeper. So what we got to be cautious about is that we're not out there just 3 times. We got to let the leaves actually fall. And it's really weird this year. The trees were really stressed. Some trees are completely gone, and other ones, it's like, well, what's going on with that tree? It's still there. So we're metering that, and we're skipping around. We're getting the bad areas right away. So, and lots of budgeting going on right now, speccing equipment for next year and things like that. We continue to fix up some alleys. We're trying a couple new things. We found a real nice material that we're using on the hills for now. And we still, in the water and sewer guys, are still working on some patching. Snowplows are going to be out there soon, so believe it or not. And we're still have a couple hydrants to change out and lowering some manholes and doing those maintenance things, getting ready for the snow and the plowing. So that's what we're doing in Public Works. We got a couple projects to finish up. So
thank you, Larry.
Oh, if I should mention too, we've gotten some calls. We're training a new garbage truck operator again. So it's always a struggle at 4 a.m, and then to be out there by yourself and it's dark and not hit power poles and vehicles that are half parked in alleys and that. So if you get your garbage missed, we'll help you out. We'll get it done. So just give us a call and we'll take care of you.
Hey, Larry, or Mr. Mayor, can I?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Larry, will you tell your garbage guys to slow down at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning? I know it's dark outside, but I was at work last week and couple nights this week, and I work midnights, and I was outside and having my coffee and just seen them trucking down the road. I'm like, oh my gosh! But there's deer known to jump out those areas, so I'm just letting you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't need a deer slowing us down. We're a little bit behind already with training, so
Larry, I don't want to bring anybody's medical into our conversation, obviously, but make sure that, if you end up down an individual for any amount of time, we have to have a discussion because we're going into winter and you need everybody you got. So
yeah, we got one guy out right now, and then we got a pending retirement coming quickly. So I'm working on that, and as we go into winter here, especially. So, and I'll know more next week on that. So hopefully we're a little bit closer to fully staffed again next week.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Council, anything else for Larry? Thank you. Chris, good evening. Fire Chief, report tonight. Sure.
Yes, I only got one thing, Mayor. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Last week was Fire Prevention Week in the state and throughout the U.S. And the theme of it was learn the sounds of safety. And it was just to educate the public on what the alarms on your carbon monoxide detector and your smoke alarm are. People usually don't read the directions. They slap batteries in and they throw them on the wall. So there is, you got your full alarm, you got your low battery alarm, and you got your end of life alarm when the detectors are done. A lot of them have like a built-in timer now. So as soon as they're at the 10-year mark, most of them, they automatically go into alarm. So it's always good to read the directions and learn what each alarm is. If you're not sure, always call 911 and we'll come in and check it out for you. I'd like to thank all the guys that are participating in ECFE during the day. It's always hard to get people with work schedules. I know Councilor Lance is one of them, and a few other folks down there have been talking to the kids about fire safety. So that's been going well. And that is all I have at this time.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, just a question. Are we like staffed as well as we want to be for firefighters right now?
We're staffed better than we were, I guess, a year or two ago, but we're still low. I'd like to be pushing 30 and we're at 23.
Okay. That was good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, moving along. Go ahead. Whoever.
I have a quick question. This could be for Chris and also for Jess, but have you guys ever considered, or maybe you can or can't, I don't know, but is there a way that maybe like you could have a position where someone is like only a driver, or someone is only like someone like, I'll just use myself as an example, someone who doesn't really have a lot of time in their week to be a volunteer firefighter or a volunteer paramedic. But if I was home and a call came through and I was able to just drive, is there any flexibility in those positions?
Jess, you want to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Chris. So Travis, per EMSRB regulations, that's the board that's over EMS within Minnesota. In the ambulance, they actually prefer to have 2 EMTs, 2 paramedics, or some combination therein. There are variances where we can utilize EMRs or emergency medical responders to drive the vehicles, but that does require some training and certification on itself. I believe it includes at least CPR, and then there's emergency vehicle operators course or some version of certification that has to be obtained. So just having anybody on the roster is unfortunately not possible for the EMS side of things. I can't speak to fire, but if there are folks interested in that, that's definitely something I'm looking into as well, as far as getting and utilizing EMRs.
And then on the fire side, Trav, really having one person, say yourself, who isn't certified, or trained on that truck, it doesn't do me a lot of good even getting it there without at least 2 people that are trained on that truck to be able to operate the pump, and then somebody on the hose nozzle. So you know what I mean? It's just, you can get it there, but I still got enough staff to run it.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of, obviously training would have to be involved in it. I'm just trying to help you out here and see if there's for small communities to, maximize people who are busy but want to help. Thanks.
All right, we'll move on. Police Chief Vern, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a formal report. Just keep the meeting going.
We got some perspective still. You're still working on filling your job positions over there?
We still have two in FTO. They're still in FTO. Looks like they'll make it. I'm positive, or at least optimistic that they're doing a good job and they'll make it. We are losing two at the end of the month. So we're still backfilling that. We have some prospective applications now that we're sending out to start looking at. So it's an ongoing battle, just like everybody else.
Just a quick one more question. So, like last year, you came to us and said that you had a meeting with Buell and they were okay with 3% or whatever we did last year. Are you going to do that again, or are you going to just have the council bring it to you? I mean,
I thought we did during that joint meeting last year about the 3%. We did 3% last year, and I thought it was during a joint meeting with some of our representatives from our council and their council, and I thought, well, I know Buell wanted to do that again. I know everybody's schedules are pretty busy, but during this budgeting time, I was thinking they were hoping to do that again to see if there was other places like in Public Works where we could do some joint purchasing to save some money. So does the council feel like they want to raise that? That's, I guess, the question to ask. Right now, we saved money this year in our budget because we were officers short, so we saved that money there. I'm not sure if we're going to get the full staff next year or not. The way it's looking and how slow it is to hire, I would say we don't even make it, so we'll still be saving some money in our budget. So if the council looks at, really feels like we should raise that, well, we need to have that talk during the budgeting. And I can present it to them or we can in a joint meeting, however you want to do that.
okay. Well, we can have that talk on the, we're trying to set a budget meeting coming up anyway. Right. Later in this meeting, so we can have that talk, and you can kind of tell us how you came out last year, which you already know. Obviously, you just said it, and we'll rehash it out. So see if we should look at an increase of any kind. All right, thanks, Vern. Council, anything else for the chief? Rick Director Tammy, report tonight. Good evening.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The crack sealing project along the Long Year Walking Trail is complete, and we were able to do the south side basketball court, but funds did not allow us to do the skate park. The DNR pier, they're still not getting those floats in, so we communicated with them, and the dock itself, the pier itself will be stored at the city garage behind the gates, and hopefully those floats will come in next spring and it can be assembled and put in the water. I'm excited to say that Matt Nelson and Amanda Meyer will be working as youth center attendants. I feel very fortunate to have them both. Thank you, Vern, for the tip. And we did interviews for spring link attendants, and I've given 3 conditional offers. They'll come back with those names once their screenings come back.
Is everything?
That's it.
Thank you, Tammy. Council, anything for Tammy? All right. City Attorney Brian, report tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. No formal report, but there was one item I just wanted to touch on a little bit because I've heard some conversation about it. And I know we've touched on this as a council several times over the last year or so. And that's just the continuation of our meetings by electronic means. I know there's been some questions that have been raised. There's some concerns expressed. And at this point, the city of Chisholm is a little bit unusual in conducting all of its meetings strictly by the virtual meetings, but the council has done the right things to make that permissible. And specifically, the primary reason I understand that we're continuing our meetings in this fashion is because it's not practicable given the continued pandemic situation to meet in a unusually small council chamber. And so as that has been discussed, we have been complying with Minnesota statute 13D.021, which permits these types of meetings if we meet certain conditions. Those conditions primarily deal with all the council members being able to see each other, being able to participate in the communications and the discussions of each topic. They also talk, and one of the requirements is that unless it's considered not practicable because of the pandemic situation, we have at least one of our council members, our primary administrator, or our primary legal counsel present at the regular meeting location. My understanding is we're doing that. We've got Ms. Scraba typically volunteers to stay down at City Hall and be present at our normal meeting location. And then finally, that we're conducting all of our votes by roll call votes so that each member's vote can be heard and accounted for. We're also providing the live stream for the public to keep the public apprised and be able to provide transparency and access to our meetings. And so at this point, my opinion is at least that we're complying with the provision that allows that. That being said, this is obviously a situation that's fluid and we should continue to monitor it. At this point, a portion of my opinion is based on the fact that we've got an uptick in infection rates and the spread seems to be picking up. We've got some variants out there that have been causing some problems. But we should keep an eye on this and when practicable, return back to our in-person meetings or some hybrid form. But we should keep this on our radar and evaluate it on a regular basis.
Brian, let me ask a question about that, okay? Obviously, the reason I'm okay with a Zoom meeting is because to me, the most important thing in these meetings is that I have as many of my council people here as are available to be in the council meeting. That's my main goal, is have as many people, council people, helping me make decisions here as we can. With that said, that's kind of the reason we have some folks, our council members, that are necessarily real comfortable in that small quarters. So that's why I haven't pushed the fact at this point. With that said, if we go back to in-person meetings, can we legally do a hybrid where some of our council is on a Zoom or do we have to meet?
We could do a hybrid. There are some models out there that would permit that. It's not the best model, but there are some ways to make it happen.
Okay. We'll keep talking about it. I do know we got a couple of council people who've never sat in the council chambers yet. We're a year and a half into their more than that, we're almost 2 years into their term. So we're going to get there eventually because I know that we need to. So, Council, anything else on that or anything for Brian before we move on? All right. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us. All right, move on. Consent agenda, list of bills that will approve retroactive, or I should say we'll ratify it at our next meeting. Hopefully our committee has a chance to look at those bills soon after this meeting. Communication, which are the library minutes, police commission minutes, third quarter 2021 ambulance report, minutes of previous city council meetings, a September 15, 2021 working session, September 22nd, 2021 regular meeting, September 28th, 2021 special meeting, payroll and overtime. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda, Council?
Motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Questions, comments, concerns, corrections? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikuloraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the consent agenda is approved. New business. First item, we have Brenda Schaffer Paulinen. I'm sure I wrecked that name. Schaffer. Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging. I'm not 100% sure what we hoped to do with this tonight, but I do know that Brenda came here to speak with us. So I'll just turn it over to her. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to try to, if you guys can make it possible, I'd like to be able to pull up some slides.
So we can make you the administrator if you're familiar with how that all works.
Sure.
However, no, I want to just share something with you. When we get done, we need to take back the administrator position before you log out or you cut it or the whole meeting ends. Okay. So
I will make sure that I do not hijack your meeting. I will make sure.
We did that one time. Stephanie, can you do that for Brenda? Looks like you are now the host.
All right. All right. So, good evening. My name is Brenda Schaefer-Pellin, and I am a planner with the Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging. I appreciate being able to be here with you tonight, especially as somebody who grew up just next door in Buell, and still have family throughout the range. In fact, I rode the school bus with Chief Manor back in our school days. The reason I got into working in aging services was because of that experience I had living in Buell. My mom was a home care worker who worked for older clients in our hometown. And as a result, I was blessed to have some bonus grandparents, but also to be able to see the importance of older adults being able to remain in their communities. You know, we live in a vibrant, beautiful region full of natural beauty and strengthened by hard work, a cooperative spirit, and care for our neighbors. And these qualities are just some of the reasons that we choose to remain here in our later years or to return to the area to retire. So I'm going to go through and not any of this really in depth. I think she said I got about 10 minutes, so we're going to kind of cruise through it. Just starting to look at just some of the changing demographics of Minnesota. Currently, 1 in 3 Americans are age 50 or older. 2030, 1 out of every 5 people in the United States will be 65 or older, and kind of asking ourselves, are we really ready as communities for that? So you can see the infographic here, 2015, kind of where things looked like. You know, we were running between 20% and 34% of adults age 65 in Minnesota. But by the time we reach 2030, you can see that will have jumped up dramatically, and especially in our region. And we'll be looking at, in most of our state, 35% or more of our population over 65. So just kind of taking that down then to more of our local level, and you can see that the number of the percentage of people 65 plus in our region compared to the number of people age birth to 18, we're pretty dramatically outpacing the young folks in terms of the age demographics. The only county that we have right now that is still running a little bit ahead in the school aged and birth and up to 18 is Carleton County. Aiken County right now has the highest at 1 in 3 people age 65, and Cook is running close behind at about 30%. So what can we do? Age-friendly communities are communities for all ages. An age-friendly world enables people of all ages to actively participate in community activities and treats everyone with respect regardless of their age. It's a place that makes it easy for older adults to stay connected to the people and the institutions that are important to them. You know, what we're really fond of saying is that what is good for a stroller is good for a walker, or is good for crutches, or is good. It's when we take care of the least of us, we take care of the most of us. So statewide, we've had, back in 2019, Governor Walz signed an executive order challenging Minnesota to become an age-friendly state, state that engages older adults, that understands what it means to be age friendly, and that considers all of the lifestyle factors that influence the health and aging for everyone. Down here at our local level, one of the initiatives that we have worked on as the Area Agency on Aging, because age-friendly businesses benefit everyone, we started a program earlier this year to help celebrate businesses and organizations that were really setting the bar for age inclusivity. So the new Aging Impact Awards highlight businesses and organizations who are going above and beyond and to meet the needs of older adults in the community. These awards are also part of our Age-Friendly Business Initiative, which offers technical assistance to local businesses to help them look at their physical space, their marketing, their hiring practices, and their policies through a more age-friendly lens. So the criteria that we had for businesses and organizations that were nominated, they have to be within the 7-county region, impacting positively impacting older adults, and then really going above and beyond to provide either an innovative service or an experience, or adapting, making changes to their or improvements to their physical space, their hiring practices, their training, their marketing, to better serve older adults, and really being creative. And so, as you guys know, one of the entities that got one of our first awards was the Park and Rec Department there for you guys in Chisholm. We also had recipients of this first round of awards included the Miners Super One in Two Harbors, Grand Rapids, Deer River, and International Falls for their work with groceries to go and making additional accommodations to really ensure food access and essential supplies for older adults throughout the pandemic. Together with the Chisholm Parks and Rec Department, we also awarded Hibbing in Virginia as well for going out of their way to make keeping the trails clear and adding benches and portable toilets to make sure that there were places for older adults and really everyone in the community to be able to get out and still connect with others in a safe way. And we also had reliable insurance and the Northwoods Credit Union and Cloquet for their work on doing senior days and raising awareness around elder abuse. And then the Streetcar Pub and Kitchen in Carlton, here where I live, for their Refire to Go partnership, doing hot meals and delivering resources and donating meals to older adults. We did also have some honorable mentions that were given to Elder Circle in Grand Rapids, Volunteer Services of Carlton County and their Wellness Center, Evolve You Fitness in International Falls, Jack Pine Savage Bar and Grill in Little Fork, and the Shining Light Cafe in Norfolk. So kind of getting into some of what does it mean to be an age-friendly community? So AARP, their network of age-friendly communities is really based off of 8 domains that focus on how we interact with the community around us. So those are things like outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, housing, social participation, respect and social inclusion, work and civic engagement, communication and information, and community and health services. So looking, it's a good time now to be looking at our communities and saying, to yourself, where are our strengths? Where are the strengths? What are Chisholm's strengths? Or where are the gaps that you might feel need to be addressed? And why is it a good time right now to be looking at being age-friendly? What are the benefits of it? It helps local leaders identify and understand community needs. I'm not going to go through all of these, but enables changes that benefit all people. It helps us look at resources and identify and assess community needs, et cetera, et cetera. So just looking at some of the other age-friendly work that's been going on in Minnesota. Here in your area, we've got, Grand Rapids did a project done by the riverbank, installing public art, a map kiosk, putting in benches to encourage socialization and connection for people of all ages and abilities. This year, the Hibbing Farmers Market received a grant from AARP to do sheltered seating at the market entrance and to help older adults by providing them with a weekly supply of fresh fruits and vegetables through their Power of Produce program. So a lot of really interesting and exciting things going on around the state that are focused on age-friendly efforts. The Minnesota legislature this last year awarded or designated some funds to go towards opportunities for age-friendly work in communities. And so those are going to be going out to municipalities, tribes, etc. Right now, what they've set aside is $875,000 that's going to go out in fiscal year 23 for age-friendly community grants with an emphasis on structures, services, community features that are necessary to support older adults over the next decade. And there's just some of the examples. In addition, they allocated $575,000 in fiscal year 2023 for technical assistance grants for age-friendly work as well. And so, it's a really good time to be looking at this because there's going to be some great funding opportunities that are going to be coming up in the next couple of years. At starting to move that direction could really tee you up for some great opportunities for financial resources. And lastly, we're working at the Quad A, we're working with several communities towards that age-friendly designation. I'm working in Carleton County. They are currently exploring membership in the AARP network of age-friendly communities. We're working up in Lake County with two of the providers of senior services up there. Lake County has chosen to do it also as a county. They're in the process of applying for the age-friendly network. Duluth is doing prep work to apply for the designation. And we've just started working now with your neighbor, with Virginia. They're just starting the application process and starting to move through towards that age-friendly designation. So we're really proud to provide the technical support to communities who are interested in exploring the possibility of working towards the age-friendly designation. And I'd be happy to have a longer discussion at some point in time, either during a meeting or offline with council members about what that might look like, what the commitment involves, and things like that. And we'd love to be able to support you in continuing down that. You've just done such a great job, and we're so proud to have you guys as one of our first award recipients. And we want to do whatever we can to help support further age-friendly work in your area. There is my information. And I'm going to stop sharing. And so if anyone has any questions or, feel free to contact me offline here. And if you've got any questions or you want to talk further about what that age-friendly designation process looks like or any other ways that we can help support your work in the city of Chisholm.
Brenda, I want to first say thank you for the work you do. Obviously, we have many elderly people in our community and all over up here. It's actually shocking the trend you showed there to me, how much it's changed in just that short period. I think we all knew that with this baby boomer thing and things going on in probably all over the world. But I certainly appreciate it. With age comes some difficulties you didn't realize might exist, and transportation, that's a huge one, and being able to get groceries and things like that. Just nice to see there are a lot of people stepping up in different areas because they do need it. They may lose the primary driver through death, and they have a whole different issue than trying to get out, get around, get the supplies they need, and obviously quality of life is you got to be able to get out and just enjoy being outside and stuff too. So, and having areas you can do that. So I know I certainly appreciate the work you do. On a side note,
I was just going to say, Mr. Mayor, I would love to hear from anyone, as you are hearing from your constituents about, or you're, not knowing, recognizing that there are service gaps in the area. One of the things that I work under the Elder Care Development Partnership Program, and we work on looking for where those service gaps are and helping to brainstorm and bring folks together from different sectors to try to address those. And, you know, we get a lot of our information from, we host the Senior Linkage Line contact center for our region is through our office. And so we get a lot of feedback that way. But it also helps greatly to hear directly from you guys who are boots on the ground, who are hearing from your constituents about what their needs are as well.
Okay. Council, anything you want to ask Brenda or comment on?
Brenda, don't forget to make me host.
Yes. Okay. I won't go anywhere until I've done that.
Thank you.
Brenda, well, we certainly appreciate you coming down and bringing us forward. Yeah, I think Chisholm should consider looking at being designated an age-friendly community. We certainly have a large population of people here, and I think we'll have a further discussion about this.
Sounds good. We'll look forward to talking to you guys more about it.
All right. Well, we'll give you time to get Stephanie back as administrator. And did you already do that?
No, I have not, but I'm not leaving either. So.
Oh. I think. Oh. Do you need to be back as administrator, Stephanie? I don't know how this works.
Yes, yeah.
What's she got to do? Just select something there?
Yeah. Do you know how, Brenda, you just hit those little three next to, yeah.
Oh, the three are not showing up for some reason.
Under mine, they're not.
There we go. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. All right, so we'll move on then. Mandy, IRRB residential redevelopment grant agreement.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. You can see attached in your packet, we have 2 grant applications for 6 structures to come down. Well, actually more than 6 structures, it'd be 8 structures, but 6 properties. 2 are tax forfeit and the others are privately owned, but all are dilapidated and in need of demolition.
So we're going to apply for a grant in amount of $17,802 and $18,597.
Yes.
2 different grant apps.
Do we have to do them separate? Even though they're in the same IRRB?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion for the first one to approve applying for the grant, redevelopment grant in the amount of $17,802.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, April. I believe that was. There's no comments, concerns, questions. We'll have Margaret take a vote.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
And Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries, and we're looking for a motion for the second grant. I already lost the page for $18,597.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that.
Support.
Second by Travis. Any comments, concerns, questions? All right.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. All right, demolition bid from Lustig Sand and Gravel. Andy?
So attached, you'll find the bid for the demolition project that you just approved the grants for. The bid came from Charlie Lustig, and I'm just looking for approval.
Hey, is there a possibility that we could get sent a clearer picture than? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that everything is cut off of it, but I can't even read the addresses.
I think they were working on our copier today, but I can definitely email you a clearer picture of the bid itself.
Perfect. Thank you.
Maybe don't our grants normally cover more of the cost of the demolition?
75% or $3 a square foot, whichever is less.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Mandy.
Good.
Mandy, I know I've asked you this question before, and I was just wondering if you could let people know that after the grant is used up, can you explain how the property is demolition is paid for?
We actually have some money in a demolition fund that we budget for.
And do the property owners have to pay for that? Any of the demolition?
They have not yet so far. So far, I have had everything budgeted for and covered with the grant application.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not saying in the future that wouldn't happen, but as of now, how it has worked out, everything has been covered through budgeting and grants.
Okay, awesome. I'll make that motion to accept a bid from Blue Stick Sand and Gravel Company for $62,340.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a second for that?
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Mandy, but just to reiterate on what, or to add to what you said, we have in the past had like private individuals wanting like a garage tore down and they have paid part of it, right?
Not since I have been doing the program. I've been able to budget some money into our demolition fund since. I'm not sure what happened prior.
Well, I thought there was one last year on one of them or the year before that you actually, they wanted a private garage mixed in and you actually got some money from them. I could be wrong. All right. We got motion support. Any other comments, Council? All right.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
All right. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mandy. We'll move on. Burn liquor license. Did you have something to add there, Mandy? No. Okay. We'll move on. Liquor license for Choppies. Chief, Council, you also, I don't know when it came in. I printed it out. I got it in front of me, but there's actually I think the whole application was emailed out to you guys. Earlier, I think it was earlier today. So.
Mayor?
Yep.
You skipped Larry.
Oh, wow, I did. Put the check marks on the wrong guy. Do we want, maybe I didn't want to buy a new water truck.
Right. Well, you already agreed.
Come back.
You're already committed.
So, all right, sorry. I'm glad
As expected, they canceled, all of you know, they canceled our truck last year because of the factory shutdowns and the inability to get chips to operate and blah, blah, blah. And this is state contract pricing, just as it was before. The one difference I'll highlight is Mike Motors in Ely has since went out of business, and the state contract has been moved to Dodge of Burnsville, down in the cities down there. And our build is still sitting on the ground in Fargo, the work box and that. And they said they'll honor the pricing since the way you bought it. They suspect they can honor the pricing. So this is a slight adjustment. It's really about $3,000 higher on the cabin chassis on the 22 Ram. As state contract price $32,164. Previously approved and budgeted.
Larry, this comes out of the water department budget as well, right?
Correct. We thought it was appropriate to bring the council because of the dollar figure there.
Yep. So Council Larry's looking for a motion to for approval for that $38,164 to get that truck.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Allow Public Works Supervisor to sell boulders. I love it.
Yeah, I'll say I was most surprised. I did not get 0 questions about this before the meeting, and I thought once everyone's seen the packet, they're like, "You be able to sell them things." So, or maybe somebody wanted to take a look at actually how many boulders we have. We have thousands. Jim Johnson contest to. We have thousands of boulders that we pay thousands of dollars to remove, and they may have found a buyer after a couple of years. I'm like, there's got to be a market for these somewhere, somehow. And after a couple of years, I may have found a market, and only because the buyer has a haul up to the range, so he can haul rocks back down to the cities, is my understanding. So, but always in private business, we don't know every detail. But anyhow, I believe I've found a buyer for some rocks, boulders, and with your permission, I'd like to sell them at variable rate, depending on size and wanting, and I'll report back to council with where we end up.
Council, how about motion to allow Larry to continue to research selling our surplus boulders that are not really an asset, they're more of a liability, and if he's able to get some cash value from them, to report back to us what that amount is.
Mayor, I believe as of right now, I found a buyer at $4 a ton.
Okay.
So generally speaking, the truck will be, a semi down the road is 80,000 pounds. Depending on the size of the trailer and the configuration, it's about 30,000 pounds total. Available 50,000 pounds of hauling capacity. So you're looking at about 25 ton. So that could be 2 rocks, and you're looking at about $100 for 2 rocks, 2, 3 rocks, whatever it is. So that's what I would ask, Mayor, about $4 a ton.
Okay.
I'd like a little bit of leeway. If I have a rock that's less desirable, but they're willing to take it for $3 a ton, I'd like to get rid of it. Being we have thousands and thousands of useless rocks that we'll have to arguably move somehow, some way, eventually in the future, or bury it.
Larry, I think the motion needs to give you that latitude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
They have no value to us, and if you're able to get some value out of them. So, Council, could you make a motion to allow Larry to sell any rocks he can at the best price he can get for them? How's that?
Absolutely. I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Thank you, April. Further discussion?
Larry, I might have another buyer for you. So
End of my way. We have thousands.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep, Marty, go ahead.
this would have to be researched either by you and Jim or both, but you can rent those rock breakers and size reduce those things so they can go through a crusher, or you talk to somebody like Cooler Construction and have them come over and build blast into small enough pieces, then they could be crushed and used for aggregate along with our other recycled material. But it's a matter of economics. But I'm glad you found somebody, we could potentially, I think, talk to Hoover and people like RMS about size reduction on those things as well.
Thanks, Marty.
Marty, this is Jim. Usually when we do some crushing, we usually have a bid item in there for about 40 hours of boulder busting, and then they do take those and run them through the crusher. And I think I'll have to go back and look. I think we pay about $200 an hour for boulder busting.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Folks, any other questions or concerns? No, we'll have Margaret take a vote.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you, Larry. Good job. Keep it up. All right, we're back to Vern, liquor license for Choppies. As mentioned, you got an email earlier with the full application, but Vern, anything you want to add?
No, I just, with the announcement of this, that's been a long running business in Chisholm, and it's nice to see that the doors will still stay open, as they sell and it continues to be a business in town, so.
Okay. Council, we're looking for a motion to approve that liquor license for Choppies.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson,
Aye.
Counselor Mikulalaha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Baki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Vern. Eileen, so council, I think it was at our last meeting, we brought forward the accountant position that would be basically under Eileen. And we internally and outside posted, I believe, both. We need to we should have probably did this at the other meeting, but in any case, we need to appoint a committee to hire that accountant. I'll let Eileen chime in. Obviously, she's still on a call, but obviously, I would think Eileen should be on that committee, since that would be, Eileen's the one that's going to know exactly what that individual needs to do to assist her. I don't necessarily feel that Stephanie needs to be on this committee. I think Stephanie's got enough going on, but maybe some other department heads. Maybe we can look to Eileen to get her recommendation. But definitely a recommendation to have her to kind of chair it, and obviously we should have a council representative as well. But Eileen, you want to say a few words about it, if you're still around?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, council members. Yes, because there were no applicants in response to the internal posting, the accountant position is posted publicly and will be so until Friday, October 22nd. Margaret, correct me if I'm wrong. And I would like to have, it would be nice, I think it would be beneficial to have a council member part of the hiring committee. I think that would be important. And I agree, Mayor, that Stephanie certainly has other obligations. And I know exactly the caliber and the spirit and professionalism that I'm looking for this position. I also would like to maybe have either Denise or Christy part of that as well, if that would be okay.
Brian, do you see any issue with that, bringing one of our ASME employees in as part of that group? To hire another ASME employee?
I don't think it creates a per se issue.
Okay. Eileen, is there any other department head that to me, yourself, a council person, I'd like to see one more department head maybe, and then either that or like a Margaret, Rachel, one of them possibly, because they're something like that. And then
That sounds like a great committee right there.
Margaret, would you serve on that with Eileen?
I sure will.
Do you have a preference on Denise or Christy, Eileen?
I don't. I'll approach them both and let them decide who would like to participate.
Council, do we have a council rep that would like to serve on this hiring committee?
Sure.
Okay. So council, could somebody make a motion to allow April to serve as council representative on this hiring committee, Eileen to chair the hiring committee as our department head in that area, Margaret to serve on that as well, and either Christy or Denise, whoever Eileen desires or gets to agree to it. And I guess as we normally do, any other person she feels she should talk to get some input, we certainly would allow that too for the committee. But that'd be my recommendation on the committee then, Council. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Second for that?
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, building appraisal for ambulance building. Council, we approved having an appraisal done on that building so we can come up with a number of what that building is going to cost us. It is back to us tonight. This is under Stephanie, but obviously we're at a point in this process that turning back is not really an option. I don't think any of us want to do that anyway. And, we need a place to house these individuals when we take over the ambulance service on January 1. So my recommendation is we will find the money to do this, and we got to get it done. So Stephanie, you want to add anything there?
No, Mayor, I agree. The appraisal came in at $250,000 for the building. We just recently received it. If anybody is interested, we do have a lot more documents that went along with the appraisal in my office, if anyone's interested in seeing that also.
Probably about 9,000 pages, I'm assuming. Council, it is my recommendation we move forward with the purchase of that building. What it allow us to do is it allow us to get the bit closed on the building and allow our ambulance director just to work with the CERTA just to start talking about the transition. Knowing where the ambulance service will be set up is important to the discussion about the transition. So let's get it back. I'll look for the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Travis.
have we sat down with them? Has there been any negotiation or anything of that nature with them yet? Or is this the final step where we couldn't agree?
Well, we agreed to bring in an appraiser, and what they come up with is the number.
Okay, all right.
As a group, we approved having the appraiser get a number, and Joe and Stephanie basically agreed on an appraiser. And,
okay.
It's unfortunate because it's probably a $200,000 building, but because of the market right now that we happen to find ourselves living in, it's more. But what do you do? I guess if we're successful in getting the public safety building built, which we're still hoping and praying we can do that, this probably will end up being for sale someday unless we have a need for it at that point. So,
okay.
Well, motion to purchase the building.
Yep, I will make your motion then to purchase the building.
Thank you, Travis. Is there a second for that?
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Further discussion from the council? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye. Mayor
Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Stephanie.
Lance also says aye.
Did she forget you? She did.
That's all right.
Thank you.
That's cute. All right, that passed unanimously. All right. So, page 54. Halloween. pet parade. I love when the Chamber of Commerce does fun things like this. So looking at the requesting, working with the city crews to barricade from 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. for both the Lake Street trick or treating and moving right into the Halloween pet parade. They want the kids to bring down their pets all dressed up and have a little parade. It looks like they're going to start at Kiwanis and go up the hill. That's the way I read this. Obviously, vaccines for the dogs and leashes and all that stuff pets need in our town need to be in place to bring your pet up there. Looking for a motion to allow them to hold that event. The actual Halloween pet parade will participants meet at Kiwanis Park at 5:45. And they're
Mr. Mayor?
Starts at 6. So,
You know what I was thinking? Maybe we could have our pet license booth down there to sell our City of Chisholm pet license too. I'm just saying, would that be cool? But I'll make that motion.
I'm not sure if it is or not. I don't know if we don't really make much on them licenses. So, all right, motion by April to allow the Halloween pet parade and or the city crew to work with the chamber to make that all happen. Thank you, April. Second by Travis. Thank you, Travis. Further discussion, council?
April, I think that'd be a great idea. I'm not sure how many people in our community actually do that. I registered my 2 dogs and I was number 6 and 7. So
That's awesome. And then we could pay for this ambulance building with these pet things, you know.
There's only like 4 dogs and 6 cats in this town, you know. I think it costs them a lot more when they get picked up without licenses too. They can't have their pet back. I have motion to support to allow the Halloween. God, that's hard to say. No further discussion. We'll have Margaret take a vote on that.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Second item having to do with the chamber is the Chisholm Chamber cash proposal that we did last year. Last year we used the what do we use? The CARES Act funding, I believe we used to help fund this program. It went really well. Basically, you buy $25 in Chisholm cash, and you get 10 free bonus cash. Stephanie thought we could use the American Rescue funds this year if the council agrees to it. The chamber's looking for $7,250 from the city, which would both cover the cost of this part of this program, advertising and things like that. So I think it's a great program. It's during the Christmas season. They want to do it, and it helps promote our businesses. And I guess that's part of our job here. So I would think we certainly as a city, especially using those funds that we got to do great things for our community. I don't think that there's a better use of those funds at the minute. So looking for a motion to allow the Chisholm cash promotion and make that donation to the chamber to hold the program again this year.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, April. Second.
Support. No brainer.
Thank you, Travis. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Nicolaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Last item on our regular agenda here, schedule a budget meeting, working session. I heard something from Adam earlier about when I think it was Adam that mentioned he'd like to have this budget meeting before another meeting, but I think Eileen's going to be gone for a while, and then we want to get her back for a little while so she has some time to do some things. Stephanie, we discussed this, but what did we think? We needed to be in there last week, that 25th to the 29th at the earliest, for sure, right?
That is correct. Eileen, if you have an opinion on that, but I believe that was what we discussed.
Yeah, that week works fine, no problem.
And Adam, what were you trying to get us to get done before something? Was that you that mentioned something?
So during our last ambulance meeting, we had talked about if we were able to have this meeting before the 27th, so we could bring information. Obviously, you'll have it in your packet on Friday beforehand of the 22nd. But if there's any questions anybody has or any types of reviews anybody has, we should have a lot of information bringing forward to hopefully get moving along with the hiring process of the EMTs and the different aspects of the service. So if there's any way that we could do it before the 27th, if there's any issues or concerns or complaints or added language that anybody wants, we could do so before the 27th so we could hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I'm fine with the 25th or 26th. I don't know how the rest of the council feels. How's everybody's schedule look?
25th, I could do now the 26th.
25th? We need a quorum, obviously, council. We're not really going to be making any decisions. We're going to be doing budget review and see where we're at, but
The 26th would also work for me.
25th will work, Cheyenne?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like
with me, Mr. Mayor, 25th is good, 26th is not good.
All right, so let's make them all. What time you want to meet? 5:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock? Somebody make a motion. 5 p.m. on the 25th budget meeting. Is that a motion, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second for that?
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you. Adam, further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Motion passes. Miscellaneous, anything, council, we are forgetting? Like I said, we're gonna have the folks from that help us with Red Hat do a report for us here. I don't know if it's next meeting or next one. We still, I want to bring back the fishing in the mine pit. Hopefully we can do it next meeting too. We're winding down, so things are getting, we've had some smaller meetings. It's been nice. Boy, they were just brutal for about a year here. Literally 2 pages of stuff, so it's been nice. So if there's not anything else, council, look for a motion to adjourn tonight.
Mr. Mayor, were we gonna set up a meeting with MDC and IROC in them for another meeting?
We can, if you'd like, we can look at putting that as an agenda item next time and discuss it. Yes, I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. That'd be awesome. If we could get together again, come back to the table and talk.
Margaret, you want to look at a working session type of working session for the council? Try to set up a meeting with MDC, IROC. Okay, we'll get it on next agenda. April, we'll talk about it, and maybe Stephanie can even reach out to them in the meantime to see if there's some available dates that we can have a discussion about. I don't know. Anything else, council, or we'll look for a motion to adjourn?
I just have one quick thing, Mr. Mayor. Are we, I know that we've had a ton of meetings lately with budget meetings, but are we going to look at doing a working session meeting, not budget related, to talk about like the school contract and that? Because I mean, I don't know when we're meet with the school, but I assume we're gonna have to have a discussion before we meet.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because not in the next 2 weeks or anything like that, but just don't lose track of it.
Yeah, no, maybe we should put that as an agenda item next time, Travis, have a working session, because we're gonna have to get back together with them. Their report is probably gonna be done in the end of October, something why we put it off and stuff, and, yeah. Margaret, why don't you look at that? We'll dig a little more into that for next meeting as well.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn, council?
Motion.
Thank you, Babs. Second?
Second.
Thank you, April. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great night. Talk soon.